welcome back to another filming of Captain's Call. I'm Captain John Bushy.
I'm Command Master Chief Michael Wilkins.
And today we have a special guest star with us. It's our safety officer,
Thomas Beck.
Thomas Beck. So, Tom,
Yes,
welcome.
sir.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
So, you're our safety officer for NAF Atsugi.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the safety department?
Okay, sir. Master Chief. Well, we have a wonderful safety department here at NAF Atsugi. We are a department of 8 personnel. We are 6 fantastic Japanese MLC employees, and we have 2 USCS civilians. Currently, I have one position that's vacated, so I'm the only USCS person right now. And my department performs 3 main missions. Our first main mission is core safety support services for NAF Atsugi, Naval Security Force Atsugi, and CNRJ HRO and Fire Emergency Services, which is your fire department. In addition, our second main element is we provide varying levels of CNIC base operating support, supplier safety services for around 34 tenant commands. And so we provide support to the warfighter in various Navy occupational safety and health programs such as workplace inspections, mishap investigations, respiratory protection program management. And then the last mission that we provide in the department, sir, and Master Chief, is explosive safety, ammunition and explosive safety. So not only am I the safety officer, but I am also the NAF Atsugi explosive safety officer. So I'm a dual-hatted position. And there I oversee over 15 tenant commands engaged in ammunition and explosives operations. So those are some of the main missions that we perform. Within CNIC, base operating support, supplier safety services, we also do recreation off-duty safety. So that's a co-managed program with MWR. That's a lot of the active duty sports, recreational activities while they're off duty. And we also administer Navy traffic safety. And within Navy traffic safety, we provide the community here at NAF Atsugi, we provide them PMV vehicle licensing. So if you are a SOFA Article 1 NAF Atsugi permanent party personnel and you're driving in Japan, you had come to our class, our licensing class, to receive your course of instruction on driving in Japan and to receive your SOFA license. And then within licensing, we also assist in administering a first-time driver program. So any teenagers out there, any dependents that are first-time drivers, you went through our first-time driver curriculum with the instructor who is a private entity. And then as well as we assist motorcycle riders. We have a new rider motorcycle program where you ride on base for a certain amount of time and you meet those requirements and you receive further training down at Yokohama North Dock and you can receive your SOFA motorcycle license endorsement. So we perform many missions in the NAF Atsugi Safety Department, from occupational safety and health, which is a lot of your OSHA requirements, Navy recreation off-duty safety, which again is co-managed between Safety Department and MWR, and then traffic safety, and then with the ancillary of licensing. And then explosive safety, ammunition and explosive safety, transportation, qualification, certification, SOPs, site approvals, things like that.
You'll have to forgive me, Tom. I didn't realize that you did all that. I thought safety was just there to make my life difficult.
Oh, well, we breed compliance, Master Chief. We make sure, obviously, in addition to management, leadership, and employee involvement. That is the core element of any safety program, whether you're private sector, whether you're
That's
Amazon, Budweiser, Ford Motor Company, or you're NAF Atsugi, your HSM 77, or your Department of Defense. When you have management, leadership, and employee involvement, then compliance with safety standards naturally follows.
No, and you're absolutely right. I know that it does sometimes make things feel like it's more cumbersome, but the reality is it's a vital function. It's a vital part of what we do, because one injury has longer lasting ramifications and impact than just that potential injury. You know, there's lost work days. There's
Affect a mission, affect operations.
Right, and why not do a job safely right the first time?
Well, the important thing about safety is we never know truly what we've stopped because of all the safety things that we've put in place. We know things have improved over the years because we've put so many different programs in place and so many different controls to our hazards. So any type of emergency we have or any type of incident we have, we always investigate it, and Tom and his folks are out there to make sure that there's not a problem that can be repeated, and what can we learn from it. Everything from recreational safety to on-the-job safety, PPE, all that stuff to make sure that we're all protected to the maximum extent possible, because if we lose that one person for a mission for a second a day, a year, that's too much, because there's an investment that all of our people, all of our trainers have instilled in this person, so we can do the mission. Because that's dollars, that's personnel.
Yes, sir.
That's expertise.
You're absolutely right. Yes, sir. You're
So
absolutely right.
safety is essential to what we do on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
It absolutely is, and I think you can understand the direction of safety and the impact that safety programs have had on us. When you look at our history as an early nation, and of course you probably know better than I, but in large building projects, they used to plan on a certain number of deaths per construction project. We don't do that anymore.
Of course not.
We don't plan to lose anybody during a project
We have
because
system safety.
because the safety is in place to make
Yes,
sure
sir.
that doesn't
All right.
happen.
Yes, Master Chief, you are right.
Yeah, instead we go through the ORM matrix, and we try to make sure that we've
Right.
identified all those hazards and all the good controls to prevent things from happening and spiraling out of control.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
speaking of impact, so what is one of your most I don't want to say it in bad English, but I will. What's the busiest thing that you do? What occupies the most of your time?
Most of my time? Well, most of my time would be, number one, administering CNIC base operating support supplier safety services for the tenant commands, overseeing my core responsibility to NF Atsugi Command. And then the third one is my explosive safety officer roles, making sure that the amount of explosives and ammunition we have on the base is being transported safely, that those that are transporting it are medically certified, that they are licensed, that they are qualified and trained to do so. And that, so those are my big focuses overall, in addition to other things, and that our people that are coming here and getting licensed, that they understand the rules of the road. So those are some of my key things, sir.
What about for our residential viewers, our families? What areas of safety would you like to highlight for them?
I would like to highlight, number one, when it comes to recreational activities, I would ask that don't get involved in an activity that you're not, number one, trained for, i.e. scuba diving. You don't want to strap on a tank and go jump into Enoshima Beach and start scuba diving. So make sure if you're going to engage in recreational activities, number one, that you're trained and certified to do so. If there's any licenses that go with that activity, make sure you are licensed for that you receive proper training. Number two, is there any safety equipment? I will tell the community, a lot of times when the active duty sailors get involved in or sports injuries, some of the cases, the basketball injuries are classic cases. We have sailors going to play basketball wearing running shoes. Well, there's basketball shoes out there, and that's a cause of a mishap there. That's a cause of an injury. So the NAFA community, when you go out to engage in recreational activities, make sure you're wearing the proper gear for the activity. If you want to go paintballing, make sure you're wearing those safety glasses. So those are some things for our community to remember, proper certification, proper licensing, training, wearing the right gear for the activity. Those are some good things to remember. Read the warnings, if you go to our pool, read the warnings, or the do's and the don'ts. If you want to use the skate park, remember there's a big sign there that tells those participants, wearing the helmet, wearing the knee pads, wearing the elbow pads.
Right.
That signage is there for a reason, because as we know in safety, a lot of the compliant posture we have here within DOD and for, of course, NF Atsugi, is all essentially been written in blood. So as
Right.
Master Chief commented before, sir, the one reason the OSH Act was signed in 1970 and OSHA was stood up as an organization is because prior to that, in the early and the mid 20th century, workers were going to work and had to fear losing limbs, receiving injuries,
Right.
being killed at work. So we had to grow as a nation to enforce occupational safety and health standards, and that translates into our recreational activities, sir.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how many basketball injuries we have. That seems to be one of the most, even though it's supposedly no contact sport, but I
Yes,
don't know
sir.
how many times on our daily journal from the security department we had a medical assist for somebody that rolled an ankle while playing basketball, or somehow they were going up for that hook shot or whatever,
Right.
exactly what the Cavs are looking for to get through whatever game, and they missed it. And so that's why they're here in Atsugi.
Yes, sir. Well, I was going to say, there's been a lot of recent NBA scouting activity on the base.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Right.
They found that most of us are not going to make it. So please do not get out there and get yourself injured, because it's just not worth it. The Olympic scouts have decided not to come either.
Right.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about traffic safety. So,
Okay, sir.
what are you seeing as issues with our accidents? What's the most common accident that we have out there?
Well, if I went by our monthly traffic infraction and accident data, I would say as of late it's been the hit by foreign nationals, the improper backing, and as I can recall, maybe merging. So these are the type of infractions and accidents that is occurring to our Atsugi community here, and it's caused some alarm for me, because here, the Traffic Safety Licensing Office, and if Atsugi Traffic Safety Licensing Office, we provide the community a course of instruction in driving in Japan. Though we don't teach everyone how to drive, a condition of going through what we go through to get our SOFA licenses, we're considered experienced drivers. So we don't necessarily teach you how to drive, but I would say on that, sir, that people need to obviously exercise that driving is the main priority at a particular time. When you're in your motor vehicle, your brain, eyes, hands, and feet need to be working in conjunction to operate that motor vehicle. And some of the local accidents and infractions we've been getting are incidents that have the potential to rise to a higher level of accident, meaning distracted driving right
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry.
Right, exactly, sir. Like I said before, our brain, eyes, hands, and feet, that's promulgated through the National Safety Council. So they say when we're operating a motor vehicle, obviously we know we're not supposed to be picking up a cell phone. We're not supposed to be putting in that CD if we still use CDs in the car. We're not supposed to be eating that burger or shaving or putting makeup on, a lot of the things that typical drivers do. We have to be concentrating on the road. Because as we see out there, Japan is a lot smaller country than America. We don't have the wide, spacious highways and freeways and city streets, and we don't have the 101 and the 405 if you're from California. You're accustomed to those freeways. So in Japan, we have to practice defensive driving. Our roads are smaller here. Our signs are different. We have much more pedestrians, bicycle riders, motor scooters. Now, I know everyone out there can attest to that. And so driving, paying more attention to our driving, having our brain, eyes, hands, and feet operate that motor vehicle is of crucial importance, everyone, please. It is a different driving scenario out there, not to mention even driving on the side of the road. That's another critical factor for some of newly arriving personnel. You're not used to that. You have to take some time potentially to drive on base to get used to that. So these types of accidents and infractions, they have the possibility to incur more serious injuries and obviously, unfortunately, fatalities, and we don't want that to happen.
Yep, exactly. Well, one thing that we're encouraging everybody to do, especially in AOB ICR, we address this, is to slow it down and to be courteous.
Yes.
It's interesting, Admiral Takei, he's the commander of the naval forces in Japan, if you will, was speaking with Admiral Carter not too long ago, and he asked that we put out to everybody to please leave your U.S. driving habits in the U.S.
Yep.
There's been a lot of issues on the base lately with road rage. The speed limit is the speed limit. People are going to go as fast as they go. Getting up close to somebody probably isn't going to help any, because that person is right behind somebody else who's driving at the same speed. So trying to tailgate, trying to force somebody to go faster is just, it's not courteous, doesn't give you a chance to have any reaction time, and it's not the way you should be doing business. So please, slow it down, just be courteous, use your turn signal, watch out for those scooters, and if you need to inspect the glove box every once in a while by getting it on the wrong side, that should be something that helps you remember that we are driving in a foreign country. So please follow the rules and be a courteous driver. Kind of goes to that ambassador piece as well.
I'm laughing because even though I've been in Japan now for 5 years, I did that the other day.
Yep.
And it's kind of embarrassing when you walk up to the left side of the vehicle here and you go, oh man, I'm supposed to be on the other side.
Or I meant to do that. The seat's still here. Well, I was TAD back to the States a couple weeks ago, and I was driving with another commanding officer, and we were perfectly content to be on the wrong side of the road driving in the United States until we had somebody come up over the hill, and it's like, oh, wrong side. So even going back to the States, you can have the same problem. So
Right.
slow it down, please. Make sure that you're courteous, and like Tom is saying, make sure that you're focused on the road with your eyes, hands, feet, and your noggin too. So, all right, Tom, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I would just like to just reemphasize our core Navy and CNIC occupational safety and health, recreational off-duty, traffic safety, and ammunition explosive safety programs. Meaning, we need to be brilliant on the basics, everybody. Whether it's in occupational safety and health, we have a form on our official safety workplace bulletin boards, your DD Form 2272. And whether you're Compact Fleet, CNAF, DODEA, DECA, CNIC, all our organizations have this form on that board, and that promotes and that provides us our basic occupational safety and health rights and responsibilities. So not only do we have rights afforded to us as DoD employees, but we also have responsibilities, i.e. wearing PPE, reporting hazardous situations to our supervisors. Recreation and off-duty safety, I'll just ping on what you said, sir. There's no, sometimes we see scouts here. We see Major League Baseball scouts here. Well, as we all know, we're all practicing, we're professional athletes here. Well, that couldn't be further from the case. So everyone, especially active duty, when you go to play sports, remember, you're not a professional basketball player. You're not a professional soccer player. Maintain your situational awareness. Wear the proper gear for what you're engaged in, because those mishaps do incur personal pain and suffering. And then from a company command perspective, they affect our mission, they affect lost work time, and there's a cost. There's a short and long-term duration cost in disability. And then traffic safety, we've just talked about, sir. We're in a foreign country, and we're privileged to be here. And I would like to just emphasize that to everybody. We're privileged to be here in Japan, and to have the opportunity to live and function in a foreign country, and in as wonderful country as Japan. There's many of our fellow Americans that never get this opportunity. So driving upset, driving with road rage, these type of typical American behaviors we have to leave in America if we so possess them. And when we come out here, we have to do as the Romans do. We have to become accustomed to our host nation, that we are here for them. And then ammunition and explosive safety, for all the ammunition and explosive tenants. I just want to put a quick plug for the NAV COP5 Chapter 1. In there, supervisor operating personnel. There's key roles and responsibilities for those folks. And when we re-review those, that's being brilliant on the basics. So I have that, sir.
All right, CMC, you got anything?
Well, yes, I do actually. I haven't heard any bragging. We missed out on some bragging. Didn't we just earn an award?
Yes, Master Chief, we did. NAF Atsugi, we were awarded the FY15 CNO Shore Safety Award for the small non-industrial category. So we competed along with 13 other CNIC installations for 3 categories: large non-industrial, medium non-industrial, small non-industrial. And we were first elected out of CNRJ with all the installations here. We were nominated to go up to CNIC. We were selected there. And so we were selected as the best small non-industrial shore safety activity within the Navy. And that's a great representation of the outstanding management, leadership, and employee involvement we have here at NAF Atsugi, which is, again, the #1 element of our safety and health management system is management, leadership, employee involvement, working together to create a more proactive, positive safety culture and climate. So that award is great recognition for not only myself as the safety program director, but for Captain Bush, he's a commanding officer, for Master Chief Wilkins as the CMC, Commander Zoka as the executive officer, all the way on down. That's a representation of all the great work we did. So,
Outstanding. All right, well, it sounds like our safety department has a ton of things going on. You're obviously passionate about what you do. I know Tom is one of the best safety officers I've met. I appreciate your leadership and guidance in there, and appreciate all the hard work that you and your staff do. So with that, I think we're going to take a quick break, but thank you for coming in. I appreciate the information. We'll have to have everybody slow down the tape as they go through it to write down all those acronyms you had.
Right.
But a ton of information. Contact the safety office if you ever have any questions.
Right.
So.
Yes,
All
please
right.
do.
We're going to take a break and we'll be back in just a minute. And welcome back. And I'd like to introduce our Sailor of the Week. This week it's MA2 Roberts from Naval Security Force at Atsugi. He's in charge of 22 people. He's been here for just over 2 years, and he was selected because of his outstanding leadership, and he's MA2 that's actually filling an MA1 position. So I want to say congratulations to him and thank you for his hard work. And we'll shift over to doing some BZs. So CMC, you want to kick us off?
Yes, sir. First BZ goes out to N6. Ms. Fujino Rezolosa of N6 provided cyber awareness training at Cinema 77, and it was impressive. She provided useful information, and her professionalism during the presentation was extraordinary. It's always nice to get positive comments about a training that's done, because usually people just want to complain about having to go.
True that. All right, service providers, PWD. Thank you to the PWD for helping remove 2 lifeless trees. They were extremely quick to respond to the call and evaluate the situation. The cleanup was fantastic. Phil is certainly a breath of fresh air when it comes to customer service. Appreciate the timely communication as well as his professionalism. So good job to Philip for that.
All right, next service provider is the Navy Exchange. Many thanks to Maiko, who works at the fine jewelry department. Maiko and Laura were quick to help my special order a ring in the metal of my choice. I appreciate their constant communication with the stateside facilities, as well as keeping me in the loop as to when I would receive my shipment. Bravo, Zulu.
Awesome. All right, service provider is HNRO. I wish to extend my sincerest appreciation for the efforts of Kazumi-san, who handles the local national recruitment and classification. She provides excellent customer service in an efficient and timely manner. I have enjoyed working with her since her arrival. So good job to Kazumi-san.
You know, if you don't mind, Skipper, I want to just take a slight deviation there. Our HNRO office does a lot of great things aside from this here. And one of the things is that they're always looking for volunteers. So please consider contacting our HNRO office and see where you can volunteer and help out in our local community.
You know, with the current Liberty rebluing that we've been talking about here lately, as well as the alcohol prohibition, one of the things that we've tried to make sure that we do is get word out to everybody about Comrail type of activities. And Host Nation Relations Office has a ton of things that you can do. Everything from going to Tiro Elementary School and helping with English, to going to the NEX food court and helping with English for students that come to the base.
Right.
Going out with CPO 365 and planting flowers and planting trees. Going to the Yamato cleanup.
Right.
Going to the orphanages that we attend. Going to the special needs schools. There's just a ton of things to do. So if you're wanting to give back to your community, and I'm hoping that you all do, remember, this is our community. We are part of this part of Tokyo and Yokohama. So please contact HNRO. We've got a ton of stuff that you can do to, 1, culturally enrich yourself, but 2, give back to the community, and 3, be a great ambassador.
That's awesome. Next, Bravo Zulu goes out to the Navy Exchange Beauty Shop. Jessie, the receptionist, is really friendly and seemed just as knowledgeable about hair as my stylist. The fact that she spoke Japanese to help communicate between the local hairdressers and customers makes her skills outstanding and valuable. Thank you.
All right, service provider is Halsey Jim. I've thoroughly enjoyed the spin class on Tuesday and Thursday mornings taught by Ron. It is a great class that is unique and challenging. He does a great job of explaining the routine as he does each time. Thanks, Ron, for the great class.
And our last Bravo Zulu today goes to New Parent Support Program. I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude to Mrs. Heather Capps and the New Parent Support Program. She has been a paramount resource throughout my pregnancy and first-time motherhood. I cannot praise the New Parent Support Program enough, and I highly recommend it to any and every new mom or mom-to-be. You know, it's awesome that we get this kind of praise for our employees, especially for programs that are very important, especially from a family perspective.
True. You know, there's so many people that do things under the radar that we sometimes take for granted. And so taking the extra time to give a great BZ is much appreciated, both by us at the command level, so we get a chance to see how our fantastic employees are interfacing with the community, but also for that person individually. And I think that's fantastic. We have any other comments you'd like to put out this week?
Well, I'd just like to say that I appreciate the support that everyone has given us during the Liberty rebluing that we're doing here. It's been a challenge both at the command level and at the deck plate level in making sure that we're getting the messaging right, we're executing, and we're doing a lot of things right now that, quite frankly, some are just not accustomed to. And in my conversations with my master at arms as far as enforcement of some of these rules, I ask them, is anybody complaining to you? And the answer that I get is no one's complaining to my master at arms. They understand that we're out here and we're doing our jobs. And I just want to say thank you to the community for giving my master at arms that support, because it really helps their job and it helps their execution when the community supports them.
Yeah, indeed. They are doing what they've been asked to do, and I appreciate everybody's support and the solidarity as well. Because
Right.
that's one thing that we really wanted the help of the community with, and Atsugi has turned out in spades to help us with that.
Yep.
The MAs are trying to make sure that everybody is honoring the prohibition on alcohol,
Right.
and that we are being responsible as citizens as we come and go from the base. And I appreciate all the family members, dependents, civilians, MLCs who are helping us out with that,
Right.
because that's fantastic. It does show everybody's united in that cause to try
Yes,
to move
sir.
it forward. So thank you with that. A couple BZs I'd like to put out as well is last Saturday was graduation at Zama American High School. 67 students earned their diplomas, and so that was fantastic. So congratulations to all of the graduates, and we wish you the best with your future endeavors. Also, congratulations to the teachers for providing us with some fantastic citizens that are going to join our adult force here soon.
Right.
And I know a lot of the parents are saying congratulations as well, and doing high fives
Yes.
between mom and dad, because the families obviously had a lot to do with that as well. So congratulations to them.
I was just thinking, sir, that's 67 new talent pool for the workforce.
Yep, exactly. So I would challenge each one of them to take control of the world and make it their own. Also, wanted to say thank you very much to the 125 plus people that turned out last night to help us with our NEO Night Out. It was something that was put on by our emergency management department. I thought it was great presentations, great discussion, a lot of spirited discussion as people threw out different
Right.
iterations of scenarios. So I appreciate the community coming out, because remember, having your NEO documents ready to go is your insurance paperwork to
Right.
make sure that if something happens that we have to have a rapid evacuation, that you're prepared. So thank you for those families for taking that step. Because a lot of people think that, I don't need that insurance. Why do I spend money on it? I don't need to do my NEO stuff. I'd rather sit here and poke around online or on Facebook or something. Well, that insurance policy, if it's due, you're going to be glad that you have
Right.
it. Same thing with NEO. If you need to exercise that, you're going to be glad that you had it filled out. So,
Absolutely.
all right. With that, that's all I've got. You got anything else?
No, sir, I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll say adieu for this week, and we'll see you in about 2 weeks.